Hey guys, so here it is, as promised, my little kind of ramble on the topic that I've been discussing in my Instagram comments. So basically, I just completed the first official week of the Project Momentum. Things have proven much harder than expected. As I mentioned, I've come to realize that um, my life outside the gym might have slightly affected my performance. I've definitely been averaging less cycle of sleep. This is something I haven't discussed before, but in terms of sleep, um, I believe in cycles over amount, as in quality over quantity. So I generally try to get um, a minimum of 4 cycles, upwards from that. So 4 cycles being 6 hours, about an hour and a half per cycle. So I do try to get between 6 to 9 hours of sleep, which is between 4 to 6 cycles. The more the better, obviously. Sometimes when I have a build up fatigue, as in really tired, I end up sleeping way more than 9 hours, which is probably what's gonna happen tonight when I head to bed after editing this video and doing a few things. So, anyways, I decided to entitle this video "Project Be More Conservative," as in since I've started this project, obviously I've expected my I guess my heavy singles, even my heavy sets, to be extremely close to my best lifts. But what I forgotten to take into consideration is my best squat of 170 was hit when I was actually at a body weight of around, I think it was 68.7, so it's quite a bit off from what body weight I am now. And my bench of 95, I've been able to hit it, but I've been expecting to hit my single at 8 a slightly tad too heavy, because it should be quite lighter in terms of percentages. And also my deadlift, 200 kilo deadlift. That's actually that's actually the squat. I was able to actually hit those two at 8 this week, but that might have been on kind of the high end of things. So basically, I wasn't able to hit my all my prescribed RPs directly on the Monday session. I had a bit of an issue on the Tuesday, but as in it was really tough, I was able to push through. And then Thursday and Friday, I wouldn't say were comfortable, but they were much closer to where it really needs to be. So what I decided to do is to lead the footage of my first 2 days and really focus on form, being consistent with all this volume, keeping the RP in check. And I recorded the entirety of both of my last 2 sessions of this week, Thursday and Friday. So what you're looking at for this footage is literally every single movement, every single set, every single rep of both sessions, the Thursday and Friday session, which both went really well. So I managed to be more conservative. I've taken a step back, as I said. I'm really fatigued from, I guess you could say, lack of sleep or poor sleeping pattern. I guess you could say also quite a physical job. A lot of traveling, daily traveling, commute, and yeah, just I guess just life in general, really. Nutrition is always the same for me anyway, so that's definitely not what's affecting my performance. But I definitely don't believe that it's mental. I'm always really excited to train and go to the gym, so I definitely think that it's something physical. I wouldn't say that it's only that's affecting my bench fatigue. I'm just really bad at bench volume, because squats and deadlifts have been just fine. in terms of what I've been able to do with them. What I've also realized just now is that although I've hit my RP on the dot on the last two sessions, I've mistakenly dropped the load for the down sets on the third movement both days where it should have been a repeat. So that's something I'll be careful next week, is to repeat the top set for 3 down sets on the assisted movements, and the 2 main are actually dropped. So yeah, but that's not too much of a worry. I don't think I'll get in trouble with the RTS coaches, as that's my RP was quite low on them anyway, so I could have probably pushed them. So I'll just make sure I do that next week. What I've decided is also to keep a log of it instead, in case I decide to run this again. What I plan to do is, at the end of this, I plan to compete and do my first meet with a friend of mine in May. So I'm currently trying to message Mike Touchier and Touchier, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Sorry about that, Mike. Yeah, just to so he can help me extend my peak slightly. So I think it's an extra 2 weeks for competition. So overall, the last 2 sessions were very pleasing. I was really happy of how I was able to perform. Body weight's been where I needed to be as well, which is good. Not that it's much of a worry, because you always cut a little bit, but I'd like to just get as strong as possible at this body weight, because I don't even have to cut weight or water cut to make weight. I typically make weight every single morning as if I had to compete, so that's really good. And then my macros and calories are pretty much on point, as in they're pretty high, so I'm happy that I've been able to maintain my weight and have them so high. I know I've mentioned it before, 3,100 calories, sorry, maintenance at a body weight of around 65-66 kilos is pretty decent, so I'm happy about that. So anyways, yeah, the two sessions were really satisfying. Made a few changes, so kept the form really strict. On the 2 count pose variations, I made sure to count double in my head, because that's how fast I go. So for a 2 count variation, I count to 4 in my head, and that's a 2 count. And my competition style bench pause now, I will count 2 for just a competition 1 count pause, just to make sure that my pause is on point. So yeah, the 2 count variations were first for me, so pretty much all sets were PRs, as I've never hit those movements. I've done the 1 count pause for squats and deadlift before, but never a 2 count pause. So I was pretty happy with what I was able to do. Touch and go and pin press were not PRs, because I've done those movements before, but bench fatigue has been really high, so I've just been happy to be able to hit all my RPs. As I said, I accidentally dropped the load on my down sets for the assisted movements, which I shouldn't have for this week, but the other movements were fine. So all I have to do for next week, if there is no change, is just to make sure that as soon as I hit my top set for my third movement or assisted movements, which for these last 2 sessions were the white grip bench press and then the rows, that I do not drop the weight as soon as I hit that 9 reps at 8. Just keep it the same for the next 3 sets. But anyways, yeah, super pleased with these 2 sessions. That's really what I needed to get me back on track, because I love training, but you know, when things aren't going necessarily according to plan, things can feel a little crap, I guess, or shit, if you'd like to if you like that word better. But things went really well. I'm going to focus, make sure that I stay conservative, meet my RPs, especially for my singles, because if the singles where it needs to be in terms of RP, then the rest just happens after, and then everything comes together. That's how clever this program is, so I just gotta stick to the plan and just make sure that I don't overshot my RPs. In terms of the assisted movements because they're new. I've started with a light load, so I'm hoping to obviously increase those loads as time goes on. I'm also hoping to improve everything next week, unless the rep ranges, sets and reps change. I'll get my programming for next week tomorrow, so that's when I'll find out. And I'm really excited to see what I'm able to do. Obviously, I've stopped trying to get a goal weight in mind, but just really see what I have on the day. But ideally, what I'm able to hit for 8s would be a good opener for my competition. So if I'm able to hit, not that I'll be aiming for it, but next week if I'm able to hit 150, 87.5 and 185 for the big free, then based on those openers, I'd like to go 150, 160, 170 for the squat, 87.5, 95, and then, well, obviously after that, I'd love to get 100, so that's what I want to get in competition. My best is 97.5 ever, but I haven't hit that in a while, but definitely 100 plus, so I'd go 87.5, 95, and then either 100 or 102.5, and then for the deadlift, 185, 195, and 205, so during my comp I'd like to hit an equal all-time squad best, a 2.5 PR on the bench, and then a 5 kilo PR on the deadlift. So really conservative here, but I'd like to get those. Those are my goals. So yeah, really happy with this week. I'm gonna obviously write down what I did, and then make sure I improve on this next week. Well, take what's there on the day, but obviously do my best as always. Keep the form in check. Really work on it. I've been really happy with the form on both of these days. Thursdays and Fridays have been amazing. So I'll keep on applying that for all the days. Really strict with my form and hard on myself. My worst critique, but you know that's how you improve. So obviously form wasn't bad on the other 2 days, but it was even better these last 2 days. So that's something I was really happy about. So that's that for this week. Next week I'll make sure that to keep stay conservative. So meet my at 8 on the dot, so everything else will just happen after that, because that went really well as soon as I did it properly for the last 2 days. And also remember to repeat on the set of the assistants and not drop it. Obviously they were conservative again, I would have been able to repeat my top set for the rows and the wide grip bench for across the board for the free sets, but obviously mistake on my part, so I'll make sure that I don't do that again next time. So yep, that's a wrap for this week. As promised, I went on about what's been going on. Don't really need to go into details, just basically been fatigue, which I think has played a role in my performance, but I also think that the project is demanding, and even though I've hit about as much volume before, I did not hit it in the same way, as in I had less bench frequency and so on and so forth. So I just gotta let my body accustom to this. But in terms of soreness, that hasn't been too bad, so I'm happy about it. Anyways, thank you for watching as always. I'll let you enjoy the end of the footage of the rows. This, as you can see, was the low drop, but fairly easy, so obviously I could have done 3 sets with the top set load easily, so not too worried about that. So I'll see you next week when I upload the first full week of PM Project Momentum. Alright guys, take care, see you later.